Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining me. This is GGF, bringing you episode 49, just one away from 50 of Let's Play Pillars of Eternity. Hope you guys are doing well, having a good time. Are we? Yeah, in the headphones. There we go. Gonna load up Copper Lane here. Lots of intrigue in Copper Lane. Pretty mesmerizing stuff. So let's go, son. Let's see what else we can do here.
Sure.
Adair, you have said you fought in the Saints' War, but for which side?
The one that blew up my god.
I didn't mean anything by it. I imagine a man with a head made of fire and light could be very convincing.
Funny thing about Dear Woodens. With all that fire and light, they just treated him like another authority figure.
Huh. Alright, let's explore a bit. Crier, Heritage Hill claims another curious soul. We remind all visitors to Defiance Bay that the hill is sealed for the city's protection. And furthermore, that the trade of Angwithan artifacts is strictly forbidden. Angwithan artifacts, that's going to be fun if we get into that. Maybe we could go down for a quick look and come right back out. Say we found nothing. What's this weed? Dalton's your friend, not mine. Alright, let's head across Viserys. Let's head across the bridge. And see what's cooking over here. Gordy. Psst, over here, mister. A young boy watches the passers-by and counts a grimy handful of coins. His face and arms are smudged with dirt, but except for the grass stains, his clothes are in good condition. As you approach, he blinks and makes a quick, furtive effort to pocket his coins. Hey, mister, want to know a secret? He wipes his nose with the sleeve. I know a real good secret. Careful, I've traveled the continent, and the hardest bargains still come from my 7-year-old. Really? What is it? He shrugs and clasps his hands behind his back, kicking a loose pebble. I just saw folks hiding some really neat things. I could show you where, but Mom and Dad told me not to talk to strangers. His eyes slowly roll up at you. But maybe you could help me with something. Then we wouldn't be strangers. Help you with what? Gordy's voice suddenly rises in pitch and tempo. The Crucible Knights have these daggers made out of March steel. It's the best steel around, except for Durgan steel, which doesn't count because no one makes it anymore. He stops long enough to catch his breath. Anyway, there's this merchant over by the expedition hall, and he has a dagger made of real March steel. His eyes grow large and round. He said he wouldn't sell it to me because I'm a kid, and kids don't know anything about daggers. But that's not true. I know lots about daggers. I know about the different kind of steel. I know how the Crucible Knights make them in a forge. I know that the tip can pierce low-gauge scale armor, and one that's good and sharp can cut through bone. See, I know plenty about daggers, and I really, really want this one. And if you could just get it for me, I promise I'll never, ever ask anyone for anything ever again. In Masuk, we begin training our daughters with the hunting knife as soon as they can talk. Many can field dress a hare before their 10th birthday. She frowns. I wouldn't trust this kid with a butter knife. Lots of different ways to handle this. You're too young to play with knives. I'm sure your parents told you that, or you wouldn't be asking me. But if I'm going to be a real warrior, I have to start training young, just like the heroes in the stories. I just know I was a great warrior in a previous life. My mom even says I have an old soul. Fine, I'll help you. Gordy jumps up and down, whooping and hollering. I knew a real adventurer would understand. He points to a large building. There's a big merchant over by Admeth's den who sells weapons. He's the one with the dagger. I'll wait right here for you. His gap-toothed grin stretches from ear to ear. Find the March Steel dagger. Yeah, I mean, not a great idea, but I want his secret. And in order to get the secret, we're going to have to do that with this kid. Over by Admeth's den. Igrin?
Well met, friend.
Anything in particular you like to see? I'm looking for a particular dagger made of March steel. Just like the Crucible Knights use? Let me guess. You've been talking to that kid, right? He laughs and shakes his head. I'd be tempted to sell it to you anyways and let the little rascal learn his lesson, but a pack of adventurers already took it off my hands. Tell me more about the dagger. He oils the cloth in his hand. Made out of a high-purity iron ore that comes out of the White March Mountains. Traditionally, the smiths at the Crucible Keep have smelted it into daggers and swords, which they only give to the Knights of the Crucible. Of course, I'd be surprised if that kid didn't already tell you all of this. He grins. If March steel daggers are only given to Crucible Knights, how did you get your hands on one? Igrin pauses mid-polish, his cloth slowing over the blade. A lot of steel passes through my hands, friend. I don't make my business to ask where it all comes from. I'm not trying to get you into trouble, but you should be careful about what you trade and whom you trade with. Trafficking in stolen goods is risky. He grunts. Appreciate the concern, but there's no need to worry. I keep my nose clean enough. Those adventurers you sold the dagger to, where are they now? Folk like that only visit Copper Lane to crew up at Admeth's Den Expedition Hall, or down a pint at the Goose and Fox. And since they weren't headed into the den, well, you've got my best guess. We might have to fight them for this dagger. Oh, jeez. We haven't been to the Goose and Fox yet. This city's gonna have tons of content. I already love it. Let's come in here. Building the Warden's Lodge in your stronghold grants you access to a variety of bounties. Here we go. Actress. You'll find all sorts. Everyone's a philosopher here. Lively place, isn't it?
I'm on the trail.
Roy Ningwin. The Stalgar's pelt is thick with dust and moths. The plaque below the beast reads Maiden Falls 2682. Oh. You see a half-consumed ale slosh its way across the distance to his mouth, spilling across the stains of food long past. Glazed eyes glance at the brawl across the room, gaining fervor as the fight extends through the room. Another ale, he murmurs to the bartender, downing the drink and turning towards the wall. He pulls a picture from his pocket, a painting of a young child, all brown hair and green eyes, and holds it above a candle. It does not burn. Ales later, he begins to sing, the bar a mess of broken chairs and wounded pride, and they all listen for a moment before continuing their drinks. Svev conversations. His ache is felt through the room. His sad story reminds them of their sad stories. When he finishes singing, a silence hangs in the air, palpable among the smoke and the sweat and the yeasty smell of beer-infused exhalation. He is the first to break the silence, ordering a round of ale for the room. The general din of conversation sparks and resumes, but the mirth now is tempered with far-off memories and thoughts. Bishop. Yeah, here's these guys, maybe. Welcome to the Goose and Fox. Irishti Tungsten. You see a fire burning slowly on the side of a winding road unmanned. There seems to be no fuel, no wood or oil for it to consume, no hay or twigs. Despite this, it roars, crackles, wails in the wind. It takes you a moment, but you begin to notice a figure in the flames. Its shaking hands cradle your young face, molten red tears marring skin the color of coal. The boy cowers, flame covering him as he holds his knees to his chest. In the distance, a man approaches, faceless. He extends a hand to the frightened child, who considers it warily before taking it. The flames die down, leaving his limbs and settling on his head like obedient pets. All tears dried, they walk together, fire and death, hand in hand. We've got Macaris Solomatine. You see a wizard playing illusions in a town square, fingers plucking color and sound from the air and weaving scenes of beauty and fright. A crowd of onlookers gasps and cheers, enthralled with the display, all but one boy, standing off to the side, mouth agape. Green eyes are pale with wonder, vision after vision playing out before him, and something inside the boy clicks. Without warning, he bolts, disappearing into the crowd, pushing and shoving desperately. The mage finishes his show soon after, a giant silver dragon descending through the crowd and 1,000 stars exploding into nothingness. Collecting coins, he walks around the clapping crowd, bowing and nodding at each he passes, until a small sack is dropped into his hand. The boy stands for a moment before him, small and still, and begs the wizard to apprentice him. He glances at the hefty bag, weighing it, and the boy, carefully. Finally, he nods and flicks gently at the bag, which disappears. The boy grins. "How do you do that?" he asks, but the illusionist merely winks. Cool. Then we've got the vulture. You see a hand, curled and bruised, staked to the floor with a bent metal spike. Blood covers the floor and drips from the furnishings and walls. This man looks up from the body he has crouched over to survey the carnage he caused to the family in whose house he now skulks. 4 bodies total, a woman, 2 young men, and a girl, lie blindfolded on the ground. Their legs are bound, and both hands are attached to the floor with spikes. He has lifted the blindfold and is currently doing something to her eyes. He pulls back a small blade and covers the eyes again, gently pulling the blindfold. He stands and looks around, seemingly satisfied with his handiwork. Suddenly his breath quickens, hearing someone approach the door to the room. He bounces in place, excitement almost overwhelming him. Then he rushes to the back of the room, concealing himself in the shadows. From his vantage, he sees the bodies are perfectly arranged, each one facing the door, welcoming the man of the house back, arms outstretched as if embraced. Oh my gosh, as if in embrace. The door opens as he slowly pulls another spike from his belt, tip of his tongue playing across his teeth in anticipation. Wow, that guy is evil. Let's see here. Lupides Silvarum. Lupites. You see an impressive gathering of wild Orlans in ceremonial dress, shaded by a copse of ancient oaks. Underneath the largest oak stand 2 young Orlans, hands clasped, eyes clear as they promise to care for and love one another in the joining of their clans. An older Orlan steps toward them to speak, beard seeming to sprout from directly underneath his eyes, and declares their union complete. The jubilant Orlan clans carry the newly wedded couple away to their tent with snorts of laughter and crude jokes, leaving the older Orlan to sit alone beneath the age-old oak. He sighs, observing the scene in the distance. He whispers a quiet benediction, glad for their gladness, and melts into the trees without another word. He has seen enough happiness for one day. It's pretty cool, mercenary. It's a good place to unwind between jobs. Sometimes I even find new ones. There's Conra. It looks like. Yep. But let's see if this is not that mercenary crew over here. Bodyguard, noble. Nothing loosens tongues like a good pint. You hear that guy? Mad, I tell you. Are you here for some words of wisdom, too?
I'll take a peek.
Conra. A woman sits by herself, spinning something on the table in front of her and watching it with a furious intensity. It's about the size of a coin, and it wobbles over a crack in the wood with a metallic rattle. She snatches it up with one hand and slams a half-empty cup down on the table with the other. This is not a good time. What's that thing you're spinning? She glowers at her closed fists. Something I need to get rid of. What are you doing here? She takes a long drink from her glass, just trying to calm down and trying to talk myself out of something foolish. Something foolish? She says nothing for a few moments, as if hoping you'll leave. At last, Conra looks up at you, and lamplight falls across her face. A purpling bruise is blossoming along her cheekbone. There's something I need to give to my fiancé, Pernish, only he doesn't seem to go anywhere without his new friends, and they're not exactly pleasant company. Pernish, there's something about him you should know. Oh, Conra laughs bitterly. What's that? Pernish was being impersonated by a powerful wizard. However, the real Pernish also deals Svef. Yeah. She blinks at you, stunned. I had no idea. Pernish, he... She brings her fist down on the table, sloshing her drink. Damn it! How can I trust him after something like this? That he's lied to me for this long? She runs her hands through her hair and takes a deep breath. I should just be glad I found out about this before the wedding. Right now, he needs help and forgiveness. You think I could help him turn around? I hadn't thought of it that way. She sighs. You really do see the best in everyone. I appreciate what you've done for us, and I'm certain Pernish feels the same way. You're always welcome to come see us if you need anything. 2034 XP. Oh, and take this. Unwavering resolve. She unclasped something from her neck, picked it up from one of the merchants to help me stand firm in my decision. I'll be fine without it now. There we go. Nice. His old self completed, and we picked up Unwavering Resolve. Ooh. Young Talino Keel and her father were ambushed by Vithrock whilst on their way to Twin Elms. Before the child even registered the strange arachnids, his father thrust something into his hands and told him to run. As he turned to flee, the creatures blasted him with psionic energy. Talino's mind reeled, nearly overcome by the insidious power. Surely he was pulled back to his immediate surroundings, half sprinting, half stumbling away from the Vithrock and his stricken father. Talino made it to the edge of town before he collapsed. The town guards were baffled at how the child had withstood the attack. The item his father had given him was an odd old silver medallion. It was badly worn and missing its chain, and the words "Do not yield to fear" were barely visible upon its surface. As soon as he came of age, Talino joined the personal guard of a local Thane. When he did, he strung it on a thin silver chain and commissioned a priest to enchant the medallion with additional protective wards. Talino went missing years later whilst on an expedition in the White March. But, oh, what does it do, though? +2 intellect, +1 resolve. That's awesome. Probably give that to Aloth. Or Aloth, I should say, not Aloth. Intellectual resolve. See, I've got pretty balanced stats regarding that. That would help. They're very smart, Durin. Sorry to say. Intelligence and resolve, that's his kind of thing. Do we want an area of effect for him? Yeah. I think we do. Let's take away that, which is a cloak of deflection. Or cape of deflection, and give it to Adair? No? No. Can anybody use it? Can. at the cost of your cloak of protection. So we'll take the cloak of protection. And doesn't register with you. It does register with me. I lose 5 deflection though. Nothing for me. Nothing for Adair. So we can probably sell this cloak, I would think. Minor cloak of protection. I'm just not sure about that yet. That's complete. Let's quick save. Let's also do some reading of the lore books that we've been picking up. We've got a handful here. Dunreed Row. The origins and practices of Dunreed Row are difficult to nail down. When asked, everyone seems to know how Dunreed Row started and how long it's been in operation. Yet every person asked gives a different account of its creation and a different date. The only thing everyone can agree on is that it seems to have been around in as long as anyone can remember. Without fail, everyone recalls hearing about the exploits of Dunreed Row when they were children. Aside from the organization being comprised of special investigators, most of whom seem to be ciphers, and the fact they seem to have their hands in everything, yet never admit to it, anything reported about Dunreed Row walks the line between truth and outright hearsay. Information abounds, but no one can say which fragments are truth and which are fiction. I will provide all I have uncovered and leave it to the readers to decide for themselves, as all of it feels both plausible and unbelievable at turns. The group is supposedly named after the street where its headquarters are located, in a building called Hadrid House. It is said in some circles this is just a name they want people to think they're known by. The real headquarters, people whisper, is elsewhere. Why would they do this? It's simple. It's far easier for them to initiate or infiltrate, to hide, to carry on behind the scenes if everyone is concentrating on Dunreed Row. Divert attention where you want people to look and you can act behind their backs with impunity. People who have had interactions with agents from Dunreed Row invariably describe them as unmemorable. No detail as to their appearance, behavior, or anything beyond the fact that they were there seems to stick with anyone. Are they truly nondescript, or do these ciphers use their powers to remain anonymous? As with so many questions regarding Dunreed Row, no one seems to know. While no specific details about the agents are ever reported, one fact that all people agree with, my eyes keep crossing, guys, is that they seem to be primarily Orlans and Glonfothan elves, though theories as to why this may be are many and conflicting. Their presumed headquarters is supposedly run by Lady Aedis Webb, though no one seems able to pinpoint the time of her arrival. The author was unable to locate a single person familiar with Dunreed Row who could remember a time when she wasn't around. Many things are hinted at behind closed doors about Lady Aedis Webb, but few are willing to elaborate, for it's rumored that although she has not left Hadrid House since anyone can remember, she's a cipher of tremendous power and that she can read the thoughts of the entire city at will. Theories abound regarding her age, her reasons for what would seem to be a lifetime of seclusion, and even of her secret control over all of Defiance Bay, if not Deerwood itself. But as with all other matters regarding the organization, no one seems to be able to say anything for sure. That's really interesting. The Erotian calendar. Ani Erochio, the new year. While only 150 years old and of alien origin as well, the Erotian calendar is currently used throughout most of the Deerwood and the surrounding areas. While the Deerwood was using the Adiran calendar until recently, they gave it up in favor of the Erotian calendar. The transition was easy to get people to make because the Adiran calendar was hopelessly inaccurate. Erochio calculated that it takes the planet approximately 334 days to orbit the sun. So he took the 9 months from the Adiran calendar and broke them into 16 months, of 20 days each, with each season consisting of 4 months. The length of each month corresponds to how long it takes Belafa, one of our moons, to circle the planet. At the end of each season, 3 days, not part of either season, are set aside for people to celebrate the transitions. Lastly, the final 2 days of the year, New Year and Mid-Year, are used to observe the beginning and midpoint of the year. To prevent any confusion for the transition from the old calendar to the new, Orochio kept the year the same, so although the calendar has only been in existence for 150 years, it's currently 2823 AI Ani Orochio. Orochio gave the months Valian names, but in the Deerwood and surrounding areas, they call them by their translated names. The New Year is broken down in the following way. New Year, a day to celebrate the arrival of the new year. Of all the holidays, this one is celebrated by most people around the Deerwood and the Valian republics. Each new year is greeted with a fervent zeal to begin things anew and start with a fresh slate. Winter months, 2 at the beginning of the year and 2 at the end. Deep winter is Foniverno. Late winter is Tariverno. Spring dawn, 3 days in Prima, used to celebrate the transition of the world, rebirth, and spring. Aothasian festivals are especially prevalent at this time, or were prior to the Saints' War. Spring months, early spring, Prima, mid-spring, Maj Prima, deep spring, Fawn Prima, late spring, Tar Prima. Summer rising, 3 days, Inestu, a period of transition from birth to growth. Many ceremonies designed to usher children into adulthood take place during summer rising. And summer months and mid-year, early summer, Praestu, midsummer, Majestu, mid-year, day of reflection and introspection. The year is half over. People who made promises on New Year use mid-year to assess their progress and renew their oaths. Deep summer, Fonestu, late summer, Terestu. Autumn falling, 3 days, Inauton. Harvest celebrations happen during the autumn falling. If the crops were particularly bountiful. If the harvest was small, supplication is given to the gods asking for a better harvest the following year. And the autumn months, early autumn, Preautumn, mid-autumn, Maljautumn, deep autumn, Fornautumn, late autumn, Tarotown. Winter dusk, 3 days, Iniverno. Winter dusk is filled with celebrations of life and vigils for the dead. The world is returning to sleep, plants die, and those still alive raise a toast to another year. Winter months, early winter, Preaverno, midwinter, Majaverno. Oh, I was pronouncing those pretty good, actually. Nice. Then we have the dozens. Duplicate, we can sell one. Scarcely a decade ago on the Evan Dewar Bridge, or actually the Avon Dewar Bridge, 7 men and 5 women fought valiantly to protect their homeland. They volunteered for the mission, knowing it was up to them and them alone to prevent Sade Widewind from crossing the bridge. They succeeded, even though they lost all but 4 of their number in the battle, and Widewind was on the bridge when the Godhammer detonated. The final 4 were lost in the blast as well, their sacrifice a testament to their salvation. Salvation? Oh my gosh, dedication. Guys, I'm so sorry, I'm so tired, and I cannot read. Testament to their dedication. The Dozens, a group ostensibly formed for the protection of the Deerwood, was founded in the honor of those men and women. Indeed, those 12 men and women are posthumously regarded by the Dozens as their true founders. Initially, the group decided itself to protecting Deerwood from invasion, patrolling the borders tirelessly in search of Rayed Saren forces, regrouping for another attack. When that attack never materialized, many of the Dozens thought the next threat might come from Aothasian loyalists living in the Deerwood, and began to turn their attention within. All new members of the Dozens are required to swear an oath to remember the sacrifice of their founders and remain vigilant against Rayed Saris and any followers of Aethys. To this end, worshippers of Aethys are routinely harassed by the Dozens. The mindset of this group may be hard for some to understand, as any fanatical devotion can sometimes overshadow the ideals. But the original dozen knowingly sacrificed their lives for Deerwood. From the dozen's perspective, how can new members of the dozens be any less committed to their country's welfare? What better way could there be to honor their founders? The dozens are not a large group, but what they lack in size they make up in fervent devotion to their cause and a gift for gaining the ear of commoners. This makes them a force to be reckoned with, and there is no more influential group in shaping the discourse surrounding Widewind's legacy. A small but very vocal minority of extremists in the group are calling for a new war with Rayed Saris. Talk of purging the Deerwood of all followers of Aethys is also being touted. More recently, they have begun to see in the practice of animancy a possible cause to the legacy, and they have taken to the streets of Defiance Bay and the dirt roads of many distant settlements to make their case to the general public. Some point to this as one source of a recent surge in vigilantism and violence in the country. Interesting, bit misguided though. That's all we're going to read for right now. These other ones we can keep for a rainy day. Oh, let's check out Nereid's grimoire. No, it was Sarika's grimoire, right? She's got Draining Touch. No, it wasn't this either, was it? Maybe it was Sarika's. We can learn Eldritch Aim, Consulhat's Parasitic Staff, Crackling Bolt, and Consulhat's Draining Touch. We're good though. Let's see.
Let's see what lies this way.
Come back here, searching for the mercenary group. Something in the vegetable baskets. An egg. Ooh, a chest.
Consider it done. There. What did I tell you?
What is that? A ring. Looks like bartender's ring. This simple wooden ring is orange and gray, and it glows when you're not wearing it. The ring's actual history is more speculation than fact, while all sources agree that it was owned by Errol of Levy, and that he acquired it after a period of exile. Stories differ on the particulars of how he got it. Some say it was a gift from one of the gods, and others say it was the boon of a pact he made with a wicked power. Ooh, plus 20% damage against spirit and vessel, and plus 5 will. That is nasty. Let's give that to somebody. She has 2 rings. What about Adair? Yeah, let's give it to Adair. Very nice. Let's come way in the back. Brad Furious. Can we not get back there? We can. Okay, Brad Furious. 1 second, guys. Be right back. Okay, we are back. So I'm going to actually wrap it up here, guys. A little early, but let's reach for this soul. You see a mud-soaked clearing, rain falling to the ground in large drops. This man is lying on his back in the muck, his hands holding open the maw of an enormous Stalgar that stands over him, his front paws on its chest. The heavy rain falls over them, playing counterpoint to the grunts made by the opponents. Dead Stalgar litter the ground around them, and the man's body shows signs of a difficult battle. His clothing is torn, hanging in scraps in some places. Bites and scratches cover his arms and legs. A huge gash cuts across his forehead, blood and water mixing as they run down his face and drip into the mud. It takes all the man's effort to keep the beast's jaws from clamping down. The man looks around wildly until his gaze finally lands on a large axe lying barely within arm's reach behind his head, the rain slowly covering it with grime and muddy water. He looks at the Stelgar and then back at his axe, grim determination on his face. His arms are shaking and it seems he will not be able to hold the beast back for much longer. He takes a deep breath and wraps his right hand around the Stelgar's bottom jaw, then lets go with with his left hand, freeing the top of its head. The Stelgar's mouth snaps shut on his right hand as his left shoots out above his head and grabs the handle of the axe. The Stelgar grinds its teeth and pulls back, trying to free itself from his grip. Blood dripping from its mouth onto his face. With a grunt that quickly becomes a bellow of pain, the man pulls his right hand down, bringing the beast's head closer to him, swinging the axe around as he does. The blade of the weapon and it yelps, its mouth as it tries to step backward off the man. Before his mangled hand can lose its grip, the man pulls and twists as hard as he can, trying to get the beast on the ground, using the Stelgar's resistance to pull himself into a sitting position. He brings the axe down on its neck again, as its head and his hands from his grip, and he thrusts his hand behind his back to brace himself as he falls. As his hand hits the ground and the full weight lands on it, a second bellow of pain erupts from his mouth. Breathing heavily, he brings his now mangled hand up to assess the damage. The little finger is gone, lost somewhere in the mud. The two fingers next to it are twisted, broken, and torn, barely attached to his hand by small bits of flesh. He sighs, grabbing both fingers with his left hand. He grits his teeth and pulls. Oh gosh. Wicked, Brad Furious. But anyway, guys,
I shall be discreet.
hope you enjoyed this episode. Thanks for watching. If you did enjoy, please like, comment, subscribe. As always, if you want to become a member, that would be a huge help for my channel, guys. The information's in the description of this video. Check out the links to my Patreon and stuff, and I'll see you guys next time. So don't go anywhere. Much more fun to be had. I just have to step out in real life, so I have to end this here. Until next time, be well, live well, stay well. Much love, peace, and joy, and don't go anywhere. Much more fun to be had with Pillars of Eternity. See you guys then. Peace out, my babies. Ciao for now.